Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who plans to take more spontaneous vacations. It's Eric Hoffmeyer.
Oh yeah. Whenever I feel like being spontaneous, I make sure I plan it out perfectly. I've got this great PowerPoint presentation. It'll play like gangbusters in a conference room.
If you think about it, when you watch a lot of people now doing improv or being spontaneous, they've been doing that for years. So you just get better at being spontaneous or you get better at improving. So all these PowerPoints are just going to help you with spontaneity because you're ready. Does that make sense?
I didn't think about that one for a second. Yeah, I mean, improv's like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
So you don't just start doing improv, you work at your craft over many years and you're able to quickly pivot. Or if you're a PowerPoint ranger, I'm sure you could crank out PowerPoints
Yeah. Like the
and
stuff I
plan
can
out a
research
pretty
now in no
epic
time. Yeah.
itinerary.
So like you can almost be more spontaneous when you're more prepared.
Make sure your finances in order. Get your point system with Marriott or an
Yeah.
airline.
I'm telling
Get your
you.
points on.
Oh yeah, you know what your
Take
points
advantage of those
are?
promotions.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, listen, you make good money. Like you can save a lot of money with them points. And if you're organized, if you're type A like Bateman and Bell in this movie, you're set. Now,
Yeah,
Eric,
we've all gotten the credit card just for the points and then canceled the credit card. I mean, we've all done that, I'm sure.
Eric, this is our fifth rom-com tackling together, which I'm pretty excited about. We've done My Best Friend's Wedding. We've done Just Friends. We've talked about the fights in Bridget Jones' Diary. And
Yes.
we did another 2009 blockbuster rom-com, Couples Retreat. Now we're tackling another kind of blockbuster 2009 rom. We'd only
No,
need
you're
to
talking about the proposal. We did
what oh yeah,
proposal
what did I say?
before. Yeah, the couples retreat. But this
Oh yeah,
one time we're doing couples retreat.
yeah, so we did the proposal, which is a blockbuster. Now we're doing Couples Retreat, another blockbuster. The only other 2009 blockbuster we got to tackle now is hard what The Ugly Truth with
Hmm.
Gerard Butler and Heigl. I'm not sure I want to do that one. He's a
Sure, it made a
rendition.
ton of money though. That was the golden years of rom-coms in 2009.
It was such an odd time though because it was such like, so you had Knocked Up, so you had like Vince Vaughn, Bateman, the oddest crew of rom com, like Seth Rogen, Heigl's like cashing checks at this time. It's such a funky time for rom coms, which I kind of like. I mean, My Best Friend's Wedding, you had like the older boss, and then she's dating the younger guy, which never really happens. Then this one, you said married couples and one non-married couple. But yeah, it was a squirrely time for rom-coms, but they were all making money. It's like in 2009, Ugly Truth makes $200 million, which listen, Katherine Heigl's run, y'all. Proposal
Mhm.
made 314 million. Then he's just not that into you, 181 million. Couples Retreat, 172 million. Up in the Air is kind of a romantic film that made 166 million. Then you go down a little bit, Bride Wars, 115. That movie's not even good. It made 115 million. Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, 102 million. Like
Was that
these,
McConaughey?
yeah. And like I
Okay.
Love You Man, 92 million. Did you hear The Morgans? The one with Sarah Jessica Parker and Hugh Grant, not good. 80 million. So like
Oof.
all these rom-coms are coming out and just clearing it, like just making cash.
There's so many that I think there is a artificially high bar of expectations for the rom-coms. Like this movie, Couples Retreat, what we're going to talk about, it's a damn fine rom-com. Like I watched this recently and I started comparing it to the other recent rom-coms, and it's way better than most of the latest rom-coms we've had in the last couple of years. But I think because it came out when it did, when there was such a wealth of other romantic comedies, that it got kind of panned. I think it was ahead of its time, and I think if it get released like this year, it would be a big hit.
The only problem with Couples Retreat is it does something unique. Like Vince Vaughn had this idea. He's like, hey, four couples married. He's like, a lot of companies they go on retreats and play paintball, and it's supposed to make them bond. He's like, well, what about couples? So they go to Bora Bora. They pull a page from Sandler and go to a gorgeous location. Even Bateman
50
said
First
that.
Dates.
Yeah,
Did
even
it?
even Bateman said this was kind of, and Just Go With It came out. But they were like, yeah, we were kind of on vacation for this one. They go to Bora Bora. They fly in everybody. Pretty big budget movie. They get a ton of product placement. But this
Hmm.
movie's weird because it has some interesting things to say. But it's like interesting things to say. Then there's an entire scene about a guy taking his pants off. Interesting things to say. Then it's Favreau on a couch for 5 seconds trying to get it on by himself. And then you have interesting things to say, massage scene, unless she's kind of forcing a lady to like finish him off. Then you have a yoga scene that's about 10 minutes, and then some interesting things. And then you have, they're talking about the highlight reel. And then the finale is like a 10-minute Guitar Hero thing. So it's the strangest film where they're like tackling some pretty interesting concepts, but then Vince Vaughn plays Guitar Hero for 10 minutes. And you're like, what is happening? Now, every rom com needs a music scene, right? Every rom
Mhm.
com needs like some nudity. Every rom com needs lies. So this one actually tackles all the tropes of rom coms.
They had the sidekicks too, but
Yeah,
instead of the sidekicks, they had the funny supporting characters in this one, which
yeah.
were the marriage counselors.
don't don't point a metaphorical gun at me. It's just an odd one where I get what all the critics are saying, but it is a nice
It's a
hangout
tweener.
feature.
It's a tweener.
Yeah,
It's just somewhere in the middle of a comedy. It's not quite a drama. I was telling my kids that we were going to discuss this comedy, this romantic comedy tonight on this episode, and they said, "Oh, what was funny about it?" And I paused for a second. I'm like, "Well, there were a lot of funny quips. There were a lot of funny one-liners, and then I got stuck. There wasn't a lot of uproariously funny moments in the movie,
like
so I didn't know what to tell them. And then they were just looking at me like that doesn't sound funny."
I like the idea of I know my truth. Like that thing was funny about the shark scene. Because that one actually rings pretty true if you think about it for a lot of couples where it's not that severe, but then you just kind of use it to go away. If that like it's kind of an
Yeah,
interesting thing in a couple's relationship where like he's fine, but he's kind of using it as an excuse to like get out of the situation
the
that he's in.
undertone was smart though too, is because the whole theory behind that shark, the fish feeding, is that sharks only attack if they feel attacked. Which is like it's just it's a metaphor for people feeling defensive in a marriage and react and being reactive.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely reactive in this water.
Yeah.
And but also, like the ages are kind of crazy in this movie too, because like Vaughn's 55 now, Ackerman's 46, Bateman's 56, Bell is 44, Favreau's 58, Kristen Davis is 60, so she's a little older than him. But then Faison Love and Callie Hawk are different because she's 20 and he's whatever. But like I was trying to figure out the ages in this movie, but pretty much every rom com has an age gap. So like I think if you watch, so I had to watch like 100 rom coms last year, and I think once you watch that many, you learn that there's a rom com land, and like if you look at this movie taking place in that world, it makes a lot of sense. All the character motivations, characters in rom coms behave in such a specific way that this in that world of rom coms kind of works, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And so it's a unique film, and I mean it made 180 million, and I know it
Yeah, it
got
made double than what it cost.
and like I know it got doused, but I mean I think there is some very very valid. Like I feel like the act like Bill Billing. So Billingsley, the director Peter Billingsley, was being interviewed by this dude in Australia, and the guy's like, "Why'd you have a happy ending?" He's like, "Well, because it's like a rom com. Like we made a PG-13 rom com. Those need happy endings. This isn't Vince Vaughn's The Breakup." And so, but I feel like all the like Favreau on a couch bits and Favreau in a massage parlor bits take away from interesting character dynamics. Don't you think? Like
I do.
that's where the movie I have no idea why this movie stops to give us a massage scene for 10 minutes with Favreau trying to force a lady to finish him off. And you're like, what is happening? Like,
I
what?
think they're just trying too hard to add humor.
Yeah.
And it really dumbed down the story. I mean, I watched this and I think I like it a lot for a few reasons. One, rom-coms normally have one couple getting together, right? This had four. This had four couples rediscovering each other. So I think it's ambitious, not just having a rom-com with one couple, they went for four, which
Hmm.
I think is brilliant. The other thing, I love the question about why did it have a happy ending? Because you're watching it for the first time and you're like, okay, which ones are going to make it and which ones aren't? Then they all make it. But also, like, I think you mentioned it too, is I think we're so wired to when you see a movie or a series with a beautiful destination, you automatically think something bad is going to happen. Like that juxtaposition between beautiful scenery and bad. Like was it the Banshees movie in Ireland?
Yeah, gorgeous looking film.
Yeah, and then like the White Lotus is everywhere right now, where it's like you got this beautiful area, but all these people are worried about everything other than the beautiful area. And
Forgetting
then
Sarah Marshall, anyone but you. Yeah, you. I don't know. Rom-coms thrive in beautiful areas where no one cares about it. It's a interesting thing. Yeah, but this one ends happy, right? So it's like it's a beautiful area, but it ends happily.
yeah, it does. And I think it did have a lot of good messages, like the steamrolling example that you brought up.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
had like rediscovering spontaneity. It had like things may seem fine at the surface, but they're not either. Overthinking about it. There's a lot of like really interesting messages that were in here that were kind of buried under some of the other the other subtones and cheesy moments.
That's puppy cradle death syndrome as well. Like I wish this movie would have been more one on like the breakaway scenes with the therapy. But then like there's the whole yoga scene. Like, what does this do for the movie? Like, why is this here? Uh, and
It's awkward. There's
Yeah,
awkward moments in all rom-coms,
but I
is
mean, if
what
you
I
think
think.
about like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, yoga. Remember, like Kristen Bell is doing yoga in
Uh-huh.
that movie. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess yoga was hot on islands at the time, but I don't know. I think yeah, I wish all the Favreau stuff would have been dumb and like because like his dynamic with his wife is interesting too. They met in high school, had a kid, and like they're united front when it comes to parenting in the beginning. Even though he's a really he says some like kind of crazy stuff to his daughter, but like they're interesting how they're united front, and I like the aspect of what Dave and Ronnie Ackerman and Vaughn where they never see each other. He works 8 to 8, comes home, shuts off. She wants answers from him. He won't give it, but then she does something and he complains. So she's like, I want you to tell me what you want. Like there's really interesting stuff there, but then there's Guitar Hero for 10 minutes. And
I
I don't
that was a charming scene because they had the Western vibe to it. Like they had it was like
this
a duel. I
and
mean, it was kind of funny.
I guess you do need music scenes and rom-coms. But when you have four couples struggling for screen time, and then there's
Yeah, you
like
got to make it count.
and Vince Vaughn in this movie, he was like 40, and we're just watching a very tall man play Guitar Hero against another tall man with a Stanley with a C. I don't
So, what were the most memorable moments of this movie for you? For me, it was the therapy scenes.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
those were good conversations. Like the guy kept saying interesting and writing things down, and it just drove Vince
Oh,
Vaughn
yeah.
mad. I mean, that's smart. I mean,
Would it
Ken Jeong too, and just his over the top marriage counselor was absolutely pitch perfect.
would
Perfect.
it like would you prefer me to not take notes? Yes. Oh, interesting. Wait, what? Like I think
I'm just gonna say interesting throughout this episode.
the thing I love is like when Kristen Bell jumps out of the boat and like she would rather like swim through shark infested waters than be in a canoe with you. That's an interesting line. I think the whole
It
shark
was
bit
good.
where like Ackerman's like, let's just go. Like, let's just go uh hiking. He's like, no, I got bit by a shark. Like that happens. People,
He
oh, I
uses
don't
an excuse not to go to the waterfall, something that
exactly.
his wife wanted to do.
And also there's a scene where Kristen Bell is they're in the water with the sharks and she's like, well, that's just your guy. That's just Ronnie. No, wait, that's just Dave. She's like, yeah, but that's an excuse. Dave does push me over. So you can't just be like, oh, that's just him. It's okay. So there's some like pretty interesting
What do I,
dynamics at play.
one of my funny the lines in the movie was like, "Hey, buddy, thanks a lot for bringing me to Problem Island. What are we gonna do for an encore? Talk about all the people we slept with before we were married and really stir shit up."
Yeah.
That's after like they go to the therapy and they start uncovering things that they're just kind of sweeping aside under the rug.
And I also love the gun bit with Vaughn where Bateman walks in. He's like, yeah, oh, you're a gun? Like, what? He's like, you're gonna have to explain that to your kids. Like, I thought that was a pretty funny bit. Like, that's the problem though. There's a few lines in here dosed in, but you know what happened? Vince Vaughn had an idea, and then he's like, let's make this into a movie. So then you have a good idea, but then you got to stretch it into 2 hours with four couples. So it's kind of tough when you start with that core idea, but then you don't really like flesh it out. And so I mean, it looks gorgeous. It's well shot. You have Jean Reno doing some weird stuff. But yeah, but
How would you rate this against other recent rom-coms? I would argue that there's very few rom-coms, maybe one or two that were this good. Like one or two rom-coms in the last 5 years that were on the same level of production and cast. I mean, obviously rom-coms aren't getting the same big name stars anymore. We know that. And their budgets are much lower. I think the average budget for a rom-com is somewhere around 25 million, whereas this one was 60 million. So it's a different landscape. And I think, but I still think it, given that, this thing has really good staying power on streaming platforms.
Oh no, I think because it's a good hangout picture and it's never that stressful. Like sometimes when you watch a rom com, there's that breakup, there's the cheating. There's always the scene where you're like, oh, he's back with his girlfriend, but it's actually his sister. And then, but like they don't talk to each other, then they break up, and then there's those long, like awkward times. Does that make like you can't watch those all the time? But I think anyone but you is an interesting case because Sydney Sweeney's like, I'm gonna rip off every single rom com ever, and they do. Like that movie, I think that movie has 3 miscommunications. Eric, that might be a record for rom coms. Normally, there's 1 or 2 good miscommunications, so I think this one is 3. So like, I think there's that one.
I don't know. I feel like I have 3 miscommunications with my wife a day.
No, but like huge ones though,
Oh,
where
big, like important.
oh,
Okay.
there's your girlfriend. And remember when he's like, yeah, I'm not talking to her. Then she walks to come see him, and then hears randomly when he walks into the room, they don't talk to each other for months and hate each other. And then they have another music, and there's like 3 of them. It's not just like, hey, where's the potato chips over there? What'd you say? Like, it's not that. Like rom com miscommunications, I guess. Rye Lane, I think, is one of the better ones. It sticks to a lot of the tropes, but it looks gorgeous.
But are they really better than Couples Retreat?
Yes, yes.
I
Because
say anyone but you is.
I don't think Couples Retreat. I think Couples Retreat is a decent film with a good idea sprinkled with good moments. But then it's like, but I don't. I like. But then you have Jon Favreau trying to like jerk off on a couch, and then you have
Yeah.
John, like that scene with the massage lady. I'm like, this is terrible. Like, and I'm not even being like
It
I'm
was,
an old guy with
so
like
awkward. I had to
like
fast forward
and
it.
it's not even like years removed. Like it's not like, oh, like I've gone soft, like no, he's like telling a woman she needs to like finish him off. Like it's
Yeah, a
really
40-year-old man doing that
yeah,
too is just,
like
but I think so. I think what's interesting is I like it because they tried to do something really different.
yes,
And I think that's where I like it so much. Whereas I think you wanted to, like, you tend to like more the traditional rom-com formulas.
like I
Is
look
that what I'm hearing?
well, like all right, so I look at rom-coms like a game of tennis. You and I both play tennis. So they're
Used
still
to.
yeah, used to, but like there's still games, there's still sets, there's still matches for the most part. But then you can play it on glass, clay, grass, hard court. There's different players, there's different leagues. But I mean, you still have a tennis racket and a ball. So like the sport's being played, but some games are just better than others. Like
Mhm.
some matchups are better than others. So I like it when a movie can stick with the tropes, but just rise above those. Like I think that's really interesting. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna play in the rom-com world. We're gonna stick with these tropes, but we're gonna do it in a really smart way. That way we don't alienate too many audiences. Like that way we can still make a rom-com. People know exactly what, because rom-com audience is like comfort food. So like you're watching it and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I can roll with this, but this is done well. Like anyone but you. That movie has every rom-com trope known to man, but it's like not anyone but you. Oh man, the one with Keanu getting punched in the face. What's the one
Always
where
be my maybe.
yeah, always be my maybe. That one's really good and it's funny and it has music and it has
You're
breakups
right.
and miscommunications.
Oh, solid
So
rom-com.
like I love action movies that know they're it's a tennis game, but they have like they're just acing people left and right, but it's still that. So I think
So you like a good game of tennis, and I like the different course. Like I like so many rom-coms are the meet cute, those
yeah,
tropes that you mentioned, but so few rom-coms are 20 years after that that
yeah,
romance. I,
yeah,
I I think most movies, when you have a couple that's rediscovering each other, I think there's normally a gun battle involved, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith or True Lies or some kind of secret agent, something going on with a big grand adventure, like in Game Night with Tina Fey and Steve Carell.
oh yeah,
But
yeah,
there's so few that are like, we're gonna rediscover each other. We've already done all that meet cute, the whole falling in love, and here's where we are today. I just think it's cool, and like the audacity of like a couple seeking out marriage counseling, even though this was kind of reluctant for the most part in this movie, to stay together. I'm like, what? This is so different than anything else in the genre that I think I was more impressed by the audacity of the kind of the different lens and the different way of looking at the rom-com. And I think that's why it got hit with, one of the reasons why it had such a low critic score. It's because I think they genuinely tried to do something fun and different.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And I
Yeah.
think I'll give movies a lot of leeway when I like what they're doing or when they're trying something different. I
Hmm.
guess, and also too, like this was Peter Billingsley's first direct. I think this is the first feature he directed.
Hmm.
And so he had known Bateman from Little House on the Prairie. They did an episode together. He had done like a show way back in the day with Vaughn. He had known him for like 35 years. With Favreau, they knew each other from Made. They worked on Dinner for Five, which is a great show.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so it
Is that
seemed,
still
and
streaming?
I,
I want to
I
watch that again.
I don't, but I own it. I own all the episodes. So I have the DVDs, which is awesome. But like Billingsley, he knew Faison Love. Like he had worked with him. Like these are all friends. So I
Yeah,
kind of
Face On had been in a lot of
yeah,
Favreau movies. The
exactly.
Replacements, Elf,
Yeah, they
a few
all
others.
they all knew each other, and so they have a big budget. I think the problem is like they went out there and like they just this is a really good idea. I think Todd Phillips brought something interesting out of Vince Vaughn. Doug Lyman brought something interesting out of the cast for Swingers. I think if you are going to direct, like who directed The Breakup? Let me look that up real quick. The
Oh
Breakup. Oh,
God,
Peyton Reed. So like Peyton Reed did
people
that,
they're just fighting the whole time.
but
It
like
gave
but
me it gave me a headache.
But like Peyton Reed had done Bring It On, Down with Love, Yes Man. Like the guy, Peyton Reed knew what he was doing. And so he was able to get like some really interesting kind of dynamics out of that movie. But I think this one, it was a lot of friends. And so, and obviously, you know, um, Favreau directed Elf. He had directed Zathura. He was about to get Iron Man going. Vince Vaughn was a huge star. Bateman was coming back with like Arrested Development. So I think he was like the young buck. Even though he had been around for a long time, I don't think he had like control to rein in these guys. Like this is very Vince
Hmm.
Vaughn
Hmm.
project. So I think instead of having a director who really pushed them to explore more like interesting territory,
Yeah,
they're
it's
like,
too
hey,
easy.
yeah, they're like, it'd be a funny idea. Just I'm trying to jerk off on a couch. And you're like, oh yeah, let's do that. But instead you have like some really interesting things with his wife. And so
You're right.
even
I
though
mean, the responsibility of a director is the tone of the movie, right?
I think
Isn't that
so,
like having the right tone? And so, yeah, you're right. A lot of things were in there that were just in there. It didn't match the rest of the movie.
and the momentum gets killed a little bit because of it, because you have good stuff and then legitimately that pants off scene, the massage scene, the yoga scene, like it kind of kills the momentum. So,
Pants Off scene was funny, I think.
but
I
like,
think
but you know what I mean, right? Like it's
explored each other in your personal
um
space.
like remember the karaoke scene in My Best Friend's Wedding? She
Yeah.
tries to set up Cameron Diaz and Cameron Diaz overcomes it. Like I think that's good for the story. So you have the rom-com trope, but you also have a scene that's really subverted because he loves her bad singing.
Mm.
So I think like this goes back to my tennis match, I guess, where you can take really familiar elements but weave them into the story. And I just but like I'm telling you, I love that scene. That's my truth. Like that because like it's such a bratty thing to say. And everyone's using an excuse to get out of something, It's like it's tackling all these really like
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I like remember the pants off scene where they all had to say something to each other. Like you look at the person,
Yeah.
and then so you're looking at your partner and like
Nature.
her underwear, and he's like, "You look like the earth, like you're like bountiful, fruitful, and fertile." I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
What is? I think Bateman. Yeah, Bateman was too on there. It was he was too there. He wasn't likable.
No.
He was just so annoying, so like in your face that I found him more annoying than Favreau in the
But you know
movie.
what though?
But I think he just didn't they didn't balance it out as a character wise to give him something to root for him.
Oh, but you know what though? There are Batemans. There are those guys who are just so type A that they drive you insane. But you're right. You know what? They should have had a scene with him being terrible, or maybe with the ladies being. But there's a lot of Favreau being terrible in this movie.
They
And then
tried to mix it up with him and his wife. I think that's why they had the yoga scene. Is
yeah.
they could show that she was the polar opposite of him. I think that was the whole purpose of the
Oh
yoga
yeah.
scene to balance it out.
Then she wants to go have fun. I do like the dynamic between Ackerman and Vaughn, like because they love each other, but they're just on different wavelengths. Like I think that's kind of like they never even went on a honeymoon because they were living in his dad's. They were living in his dad's basement. So but I did the math. He was like 32 and they was like living in his dad's basement, and then they get married and then he gets a job. But I guess if he wasn't doing well, then they got married. Like, but I like that they aren't never once are they trying to like cheat on each other. Like I find that
Hmm.
interesting. And Belle just wants to like when she's away from Bateman, she just wants to go nuts, which makes sense because
Just starts
that guy's
partying.
yeah, that guy's horrifying. And I think that those other two just want to hurt each other, Favreau and his wife, and then Faison's just trying to ice his knees. And his wife comes back in the final act, and she's like, "I've slept with people all over the world, but I miss you." And you're like, "What is happening?" It's that one. I'll tell you what, this movie's always interesting because you never know where it's going. That's for sure.
Yeah, you don't know who's going to make it or who isn't.
Yeah, and then they all do, but I mean, you got to keep it like a rom com. And I mean, of course, the movie made a lot of money, so people clearly did like it. But it's yeah, I don't know if I would call I don't know if I would call this a good movie. I would say it's a good idea, and there's some
Hmm.
good bits in it. But that's
So,
fun.
so I would say it's great idea and good movie.
There it is. All right. Yeah, I think
That's right.
I think a great idea is right. I think you're right with that. But it's easy to get lost when you're in Bora Bora and you have to like fly crew out and you have to hire locals and you're just kind of like, this beach is great. What are we gonna do? Because like
So
the locations look gorgeous.
yeah, it looked amazing. So I got a question for you. So Monsieur Marcel, Monsieur, my French is terrible. Marcel,
The professional.
professional. They got the professional, a hitman, someone who's played a very kind of seedy character in movies to prance around in a speedo and be all loving. I think that was a great cast having
Yeah.
Jean Reno in there. But in the movie, apparently he studied psychology, yoga, Tai Chi, and the art of war, and combined them all to form Eden. Psychology, yoga, Tai Chi, and the art of war. I think it's funny because it was just so random. It was one of those throwaway lines where you don't really catch it at first, and they're just rattling off a list of nonsense. So I got to ask you, if you could create a couples counseling formula from many other disciplines, like what would these disciplines be? Like what would be Mark's ideal combo?
Do you have some planned while you're going through yours?
Yeah.
I have three right now. And then once you have yours, I'll
Well, I was thinking of stuff like guaranteed to start a fight between my wife and I, like building IKEA furniture together, or land navigation. Like I got a military background, so I can just like imagine being with your wife and you just have a compass and you're shooting an azimuth and counting clicks, how many steps in a click.
Oh man.
Like we're through a forest or terrain. I just think it's funny. It is for like sports. I think they had Tai Chi, like Taibo. Like what's the boxing cardio? But no, I probably do funny things that would be a challenge for us to do together. That way we can work things out and kind of discover the differences in how we think.
All right, I'm gonna go with canoeing because Bateman, all he had to go say was on the right, but he's like, you need to look back at me when they're canoeing. It's like, no, just you're in the back, say left, right, left.
Well, kind of. I mean, theoretically, canoeing, you could just stay on one side and paddle, and then you just steer in the back,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he's terrible at canoeing. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna say canoeing because we're good at canoeing. Like I love canoeing. Like that's
But
when
yeah,
I'm at
like
my
can you
happiest.
go straight or are you gonna go zigzag?
Exactly. So canoeing. Then I'm just gonna do tennis because I love tennis, and like I'm just gonna make the couple play against like really good players.
You do like pickleball, like make it a little easier.
Tennis is harder though.
Yeah, way harder.
So I'm gonna do that. Then I'm gonna do jujitsu because even if you're smaller, you could still armbar a guy. So I'm gonna do that. And you gotta think moves ahead. And also, like, it's couples hanging out, so it's jujitsu. And then you could still bring in an odd Spaniard with little clothes to like show them how to choke people out. And then I'll do the game of Risk because no one's finishing that game.
No one, I mean, finishing a game of Risk, that is a commitment. And that's a PhD in team building and patience.
We've never finished a game of Risk.
Yeah, it always ended with like F this and someone like
Boom.
smashing the table.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do Risk, canoeing, tennis, and jujitsu or Monopoly.
Very physical. You got like a sporty spouse. That's
But like even if you both aren't physical, if you can canoe together, that's a start. Like I think that's a good start. And if like like jujitsu, you're rolling, you have to like think 2 steps ahead, and you also could like choke somebody out and be like, oh, that felt good, but and then
Yeah.
risk. So I'm gonna do
Anytime
that.
you teach your spouse a sport, you got to be walking on eggshells. You
Yeah,
got to be real
exactly.
patient. You got to keep it fun.
Yes.
Just have the right tools. Like have a
Yep.
ball hopper with like if you're teaching her tennis, have like one of those ball hoppers with 50 balls in it. Or get a ball tube so she doesn't have to like bend over and pick up the balls. Just make it like as easy as possible to pick it up.
Yeah, like yeah, and like just, but you're like, hey, low to high, low to high. You know what I would do? This is it. What do pick something that you're great at and they're terrible at and teach them.
Oh, yeah.
So I
It
would
could
do
be in the
that.
questionnaire before you get to the resort.
Yeah, what are you good at that they are terrible at? And then you got to teach them. Oh, imagine that.
And you have to keep your temper. You can't like
Yeah, I like that one.
yeah, like if you lose your temper, like this person gets this, like it's a new watch or some
If you can
something
do
there.
this without that, you get a bottle of Dom. Or
Oh,
like you can go to the gift shop with this gift card and get what you want, but you have to do it together. Hey,
yeah, that
who
sounds
wouldn't
like a fun couples building. I
who would
mean,
make it through that?
what
None
the
of them.
teaching part?
Yeah, none of them would make it through it because Vince would just steamroll poor Malin. Favreau and yeah, what Kristin would murder each other. Bateman would just drive poor Veronica Mars insane. And Faiz, I mean, no, I don't think the other two could teach. Maybe
Well, I don't think Bateman would listen to someone trying to teach him.
exactly.
Or he has so many questions that it would be so frustrating.
Oh
Just
god.
give up.
So what you're saying with risk is like you can attack. Can you team up? Can you do that? So if I build up my strength here, like yeah, he would see that guy sucks the life out of anything that is fun. You're just like, oh man, gosh, yeah. So that's what I would do. I would switch out. I'll take out tennis and I'll add that one. So like strengthening weaknesses or something.
Nice. All right. Question number two for Mark. In the spirit of rom-coms, we know that rom-coms have standard tropes, grand gestures, happy endings. What was your favorite trope of the movie? Each one of them had a grand gesture. Each one of them had a happy ending. What was your favorite gesture that really stuck out to you?
Well, all right. Like the wife show like so Faison's love wife showing up blew my mind.
Yeah, that was a good twist at the end.
I don't like Favreau knocking that guy out because that's just that wasn't earned. But those two hate each other so much. There's so much hatred between those two. They're not solving that. So I think I just like the Ackerman and Vaughn one where he's like, dude, I love my wife. I was an idiot about this shark. We never have time together. I'm gonna go find her and hang out with her on this. Like that was I thought I like that because they're never in trouble of like getting divorced or anything, but they're working stuff out. He definitely steamrolls her for
Mhm.
sure. And like, but he seems like the guy who where she goes and picks something out and he's like, oh, I don't like that. And it's like, no, just give me. I like when she's like, just lock in for 3 minutes. That's all. Like he can't even give her 3 minutes. So I like that at the end. He's like, no, I am missing her. I want to go be with her. But he's never once thinking about cheating. And like when Favreau's talking about that, he's like, I don't want to hear it. He's like, I don't want to be a part of that. And when he's talking to Faiz on Love, he's like, yeah, I'll give you my credit card. And then like, with Bateman, he agrees to that. He's like, remember Pop Pop's coming? He's like, I take that as a tentative yes. So, but I like that gesture. I don't know. I just like that both of they weren't gonna break up, but they just drifted apart.
Mhm.
And like he's really busy, but it seemed like he was living in his dad's basement when he was 32. So he probably likes doing that. Like that's like his worth. He's making up for lost time. So when he just goes and finds her, he's like, hey, what's your name? Like I like that bit because it was just nice. Like he's like, I just want to hang out with my wife. Like that's the best grand gesture. But he has to go find her. So like in most of these movies, you have to go find the person. So he goes and finds her. So that's my grand gesture.
Oh yeah, over at Eden West.
Yeah. Like it's like they always got to go walking. They always separate and then they have to go find the person and make a speech. And that's what he did. So I'll take that one.
Nice, like it. So I was thinking a lot about trips in movies, and I didn't know whether to challenge you to a terrible trips because I think it's a good alliteration, or or some of the movies with the best trips. And I don't know which one do you want to do here? Or I mean, we could go. What has the most beautiful locations that you've ever seen in a movie?
The most beautiful locations. Oh, I kind of okay. So good trips. You don't really see too many good trip movies. I mean, the trip with Rob Brydon and Steve Coogan are great. I've watched all of those multiple times where
Oh,
they
the
just drive.
last one there was kind of took a turn where their
Yeah, get out the
relationship
press. Yeah,
fractured.
like there's divorces and stuff. But the first one's fun. But I think it's just trips are so dynamic because Deliverance. You're in the middle of nowhere. You don't know where you are. Um,
Oh,
like the Descent. You're stuck in a cave. Open Water. You're stuck in the ocean. Midsummer. You're stuck in a cult. Perfect Getaway. You're stuck with serial killers. The Beach. You're stuck in a Get Out. You're
what
stuck
about
with it.
Bob? You're
Yeah,
stuck with a house guest.
like Us. You have your doppelgangers. Selma and Louise. Sideways. Like they're just completely miserable there. But I don't know. You pick, man. Let's roll. I'll pick what you
I
do.
don't know. Let's just pick five trip movies that you really enjoy.
All right, well, I'm gonna go for it. Do you want to draft or you just want to talk about them?
Yeah, go for it.
I
What
mean,
what makes a good trip movie?
like I think forgetting Sarah Marshall because like I don't know that movie made me start writing again in 2008. I remember I was living in
Hmm.
Korea when I saw it, and when it ended, I immediately started working on scripts that will never see the light of day. But I got it motivated me for some reason. It just watching that movie and that trip, like the Paul Rudd surfing bits and just the people he meets, like that one makes sense. All the little escapades because he's not with the lady and he's just like going to things because he's there. So I
Mhm.
found that to be a really interesting travel movie. I don't know. I kind of dug that one.
That's great. You know, the one I think I have a tie for the two movies where the backdrop of the movie kind of drove the storyline. I think Lost in Translation was
Oh
magical for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think that was, you fall in love with Japan, then I finally make it to Japan. And I think Lost in Translation gives an honest kind of like preview. And it's kind of showcases the magic of the location. And my other favorite one, I probably Midnight in Paris. All just walking through the streets, seeing the main areas, but also the back alley kind of ways there too. I thought Midnight in Paris was just fabulous as well.
You know, it's interesting. I was listening to, let me look up his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. Just a second. Wonderful director here, Ryan Coogler. He was talking about movies and he's been on just a roll with films. But he's like, yeah, when I grew up, I didn't travel, but when I watched a movie, I felt like I did. And I
Mm,
think Lost in Translation did that. And I think that's part of the reason why I wanted to go overseas. I mean, I got to give Tokyo Drift and Invincible credit for that,
yeah, yeah.
but like that's a reason why I wanted to go over there. But I think remember after Lost in Translation, I bought the poster, the
Hmm.
soundtrack, and then like Doug and I would sit and watch it and get emotional together. Because like the early 2000s, there weren't too many emotional movies for men. And so watching that, like even Garden State, I'm like, this is blowing my mind. And I watch it again now and I'm like, ugh.
What was the
But
emotion about Lost in Translation? Was it
well,
the end where they left the cliffhanger? Like, what did he tell her?
yeah, I think that, but also just Sofia Coppola is brilliant at just shooting loneliness and like capturing sadness and little moments and even moments that make you feel alive. And it's just this
Mm,
kind of intimate beauty. And also the music, man. Like I had
mm.
never heard of Phoenix. I had never heard of a lot of the bands from that. So I was like really into the music and it just felt alive. So I'm going to pick that. I'm also going to go with the Darjeeling Limited because I tried to go to India to finish up my master's degree when I was there. There's a teacher who could have got me over there, but then I realized how much it would have cost. And but I was seriously considering like going to India, but I was like, I just don't want the student loan debt and finishing up my education over there. But I think like Darjeeling Limited, the main part of that though is the brothers at the end when they get rid of their baggage, which is like kind of an amazing scene because like they're letting go of their bag, literally letting go and metaphorically
Mm.
letting go of their baggage. And that really connected with me when I saw it. So I definitely got to include Darjeeling Limited in that.
Sure, Wes Anderson does have a lot of the backdrops, the beautiful locations.
Yeah. Oh man.
Whether
Yeah.
you're at sea, underwater, in the mountains,
Oh yeah.
in the
So
city.
like I think is that kind of what you were looking for? Where
Yeah,
as far
it's
yeah, yeah.
great.
And like Sideways connected with me a lot too. Just watching how miserable it got and just the whole process of like being a writer. And I don't know, that one kind of connected with me as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great case study. Couples retreat, the where they were at, they could have been anywhere. They didn't need to be in Bora Bora. They could have been at any resort experiencing this same thing. Like it didn't give it a lot of personality. Or like those movies that have the location give so much personality and beauty. I think it's the next level.
Man, yeah. You got me want to watch Lost in Translation again. How many rules?
We get all emotional.
Like, like hitting the road, like E2 Mama Tambien or the Motorcycle Diaries, like,
Mm.
Gail Garcia Bernal, like those films. Like, there's something about just hitting the road and exploring. And I think that very much connected with me because I went exploring. So I think something in those movies got me wanting to travel for sure. But yeah, I think the ones that really connected with me are, Tokyo Drift got me a job in Japan, which got me a job in South Korea. Lost in Translation, Darjeeling Limited. I think those all kind of prep me for going somewhere else. So yeah, I'll give those movies credit. I know they're not Couples Retreat, but I think those movies kind
I
of.
like it. I think it was ahead of its time, and I hope people watch it on Netflix. I mean, streaming right now, and we wrote a blog post about it too on the website for Movies, Films, and Flicks.
Oh,
But
and
I gotta
also
say,
Before Sunrise too, Eric. That movie got me big. Just on the train.
which one was in Greece?
That was the third
Before
one.
Midnight.
Yeah, that one gets hard, but this is when they first meet and they just meet on a train
Mm.
and go have a great night together. Like they did the conversation and all that. And listen, Eric, I really hope you don't think that I'm like knocking on this movie because
Not at all. It's just an opinion. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. But I just like that it like it's a good when Vince Vaughn came up with this idea, it's really easy to understand why a studio shelled out 60 million to go send them over there to make this. And it's easy to understand why they got such good actors for it because it's a good idea. It's very easy to sell. And you're right, it does something different, but it also sticks within the genre. I just wish maybe like they had a more seasoned director to rein it in a bit.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It was fun. It was fun revisiting this, and it was fun kind of dissecting it. I didn't want to just make it through this episode together. I wanted to really enjoy this episode.
So you
We
guys.
gotta next thing what we need to do. You, me, Levin, good, other contributors. We just need to go somewhere for a weekend, and that's awesome, and just record a bunch of episodes for the podcast.
Like they
We'll go
start
on a
off
retreat all together and just bank a whole ton of episodes.
they start off really good and then just it ends with us just like going
Just
at it.
evolve, yeah.
And then at the end we're like all friends again. Oh, I like that.
Oh, you
uh
hear it in the episodes where we start to not like each other, and then we start to like each other again toward we
John,
were reigniting the dimming flames of the most mismanaged relationships.
John's not at this episode, but he might be back. And then the next one he's like, what's up, guys?
I like it, man. That was a good time. And
Yeah,
I hope everyone kind of enjoyed. Was our fifth rom-com
yeah,
episode that we've done together. I think I'm the only contributor on Movies, Films, and Flicks that does rom-coms with you, so I'm very proud to hold that title.
yeah. We need to do more of these. I love covering. What's great about rom-coms, there's like so much crap that happens in them that they're really easy to talk about because they get quite gnarly, and I like that.
Yeah, good sidebars too.
Yeah. Awesome, Eric. Well, hey, thank you for recommending this and thank you for writing the article, man.
Yeah, buddy. Take care.
All right. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Eric Hoffmeyer, this is Movie Sales and Flicks. We'll see you next week.